الوضع فطرة الله التي فطر الناس عليها. يعني هم ما يفهمون، نحن نؤمن بالفطرة. هم قالوا we don't have religious values، ما عندنا مبادئ دينية. لا، هذه مبادئ دينية فطرية. هم يظنون أن الدين شيء مصنوع من البشر.
أيوة، هذه هي المشكلة.
لا، هم يظنون أنه مصنوع من البشر
ويمثل القيد على الفكر.
نعم.
فإنه هذول خربوا العالم وخربوا
والناس ما كلموهم. هذا يحتاج جلسة. والله لو كنا معهم مدة
ممكن كان
لا منهم من يسلم، ما عندي شك. I mean, you can say thinking, but even thought. Where does thought come from? Where?
From learning about things, from learning, from reading books, from education. We have learned about different.
So our primitive people, they don't have these feelings like some Aboriginal people who can't read or write in Australia.
No, but
hold on. Aboriginal people who cannot read or write have no tradition of literacy.
Yeah, but they learn things in another way.
Okay, so it's not just reading.
When we say
they were peaceful in nature, they have a fantastic culture, but that's changed when English came in.
Right.
But what if other people who don't have these thoughts that you have, their actions affect you and may harm you? Doesn't it need some kind of higher order in order to prevent those people?
I believe in democracy, and I believe in
well, let me ask you something about democracy. For instance, in England, 80% of the English people were against bombing Iraq, and yet the government bombed Iraq.
That's not democratic. We were against bombing Iraq.
The next elections, I hope they will lose.
Yeah, but democracy is the best system, but it doesn't work in practice like it should. But it's the best solution of all worst solutions, I think. Democracy. So the idea of people.
The worst.
Yeah, the best of the worst. Yeah, that's it.
Do you have an alternative for democracy to avoid all that?
Well,
Definitely.
I mean, I think, my personal belief is waking people up is what I really feel the most important thing for me to be doing. Like trying to wake myself up and trying to wake others up. One, to alternative ways of looking at things, because I think that we should challenge ourselves constantly, always.
And what means do you have to wake up people?
How do you organize
to wake up? Well, part of it is
for a whole community. What is the best
politics,
way to do that?
Yeah, I'm very politics. I don't like political parties very much.
So that's not
I
the way
think
you...
I personally prefer communitarianism. I think that the best human beings are people that can monitor themselves. I would rather have people that actually have internal mechanisms that prevent them from stealing than have police that scare them into not stealing.
That's all.
But I also feel that in order to prevent the temptation of stealing, you have to have more just distribution of wealth. I think that in societies where we spend billions of dollars on weapons and we have old people begging in the streets, I think something is deeply wrong with our society.
We totally agree. But we see no practical alternative for that.
Well, see, this is where my faith enters in, and we can disagree about this, but for the sake of our argument, my faith enters in because I actually believe that there is a source behind all of this. I don't think this just came in from, it just popped into existence, or over millennia we kind of developed into these thinking, very fascinating, very incredible. I mean, we have eyes, we can see each other. I come from California, I've never met you one time, and here we are speaking in language that we can both understand, and we're having thoughts and thinking. I mean, I find that very extraordinary, and I have a difficult time believing that was just a coincidence. And so I believe that source does communicate to us, and I believe it communicates to us in two ways. One is the way you're talking about. I believe that those thoughts that you have, even though you might not attribute them to that source, those thoughts of, I don't want to harm another person, I actually believe that you were created with those thoughts, that those are, in essence, what in a more poetic language we would call angelic thoughts. يعني الجرعة لازم تكون خفيفة أول مرة. إذا you come on heavy يبتعدون. يعني الدعوة حكمة. يعني والله النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم مرة التنوخي الذي بعث من قبل الحاكم في الشام، لما جاء النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال ألك نصيب من دين أبيك إبراهيم؟ قال أنا على دين قومي حتى أعود إليهم. والعرب كان عندهم شيء في نفوسهم أنه مثلا يعني إذا أنا مبعوث أو شيء يعني خلاص لا تنازل. فالنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إنك لا تهدي من أحببت ولكن الله يهدي من يشاء. وتركوا قال من يستضيف الآخ؟ وسيدنا عثمان قام واستضافه. فهو قال شوف نزل بعد السؤال إلى ضيافة أكرمه. سيدنا عثمان أعطاه جبته هدية منه. تنوخي هذا أسلم في زمن معاوية رضي الله عنه ويعتبر من التابعين، رغم أنه التقى مع رسول الله لكن لم يؤمن به
بعد 30 سنة على الأقل.
نعم. فالبذرة غرست فأنت لا تدري. يعني كلمة أنا بغيت أقول لهم يعني نحن شعوب وقبائل لماذا؟ للتعارف. آخر كلمة تعارف، يعني إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم. وأنا قلت لها يعني the most conscientious لأنهم يحبون conscientiousness. He said oh the most thoughtful يعني the people that think the most يعني لأن التقوى من التدبر يعني نعم. And that's where my religion comes in. So I believe a lot of what you don't like about religion, I don't like about religion. Many of the things that you're telling me, I agree with you.
They are not religions. They are misinterpretations.
I think they're misunderstandings, but the same thing can be said about any system of belief. It doesn't have to be religion that causes these things. National Socialism, if you look at what Hitler wanted to do, he wanted everybody to have food on the table. He wanted all the Germans to have cars. He had the Volkswagen made. Volkswagen, the car for the people. He was a vegetarian. He liked children. Do you know, he had a sense of humor. Yeah, German children, you see.